This is our second segment today with Craig Floyd from the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund down in Washington, D.C. Craig is doing a wonderful job. For those of you who are just tuning in or realizing that we're on here with Craig, the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund does a wonderful job honoring those who have given it all for law enforcement. All right, so Craig, why don't you get into the next part of the show here?
Well, as we like to say, Joe, we always like to talk about the fatalities that have occurred across this nation. We like to put a face to the names and the numbers. The good news to report right off the bat is that 2012, relatively speaking, is one of the safest years we've seen for law enforcement in quite some time. After 2 years of very significant increases in the number of officers killed in the line of duty, we had 153 deaths in 2010. We had 163 officers killed last year, 2011. And if you look at that number, 163 last year compared to just 2 years ago, 2009, that's more than a 30% increase in the number of officers killed in the line of duty. So we've been working hard with a lot of partners, the Department of Justice, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and their Valor program. We receive a Valor grant to help prevent violent deaths of law enforcement officers, felonious attacks that end in fatalities. We're working with NHTSA, the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, to make it safer for our officers on the roadways. We're working with groups like the International Association of Chiefs of Police, National Sheriff's Association, for example, to try to make it safer for our officers. And the good news is our work is paying off, it seems. 2012, so far we've lost 29 officers in the line of duty. That's the bad news. The good news is that's a 48% decrease from last year at this same time. Last year we'd actually lost 56 officers already across this country. This year, only 29 in relative terms.
That is terrific news.
It really is, and we've been talking about this issue for so long on the show, Joe, but I think it's the first time in a long time we've been able to talk about some numbers that seem very favorable in terms of their trending. Firearms-related deaths, 10 so far this year, compared to 25 at the same time last year. That's a 60% decrease in the number of officers shot and killed over the past year. Traffic-related deaths also down significantly. 11 so far this year have died in traffic-related incidents versus 18 last year at this time. That's a 39% decrease in traffic-related deaths. And then deaths by other causes, 8 so far this year compared to 13 at the same time last year. That's a 38% decrease as well. So we're seeing some excellent trending numbers. We hope this will continue. I will say that typically the first quarter of every year is a barometer of things to come. So I'm hopeful, very hopeful, and very encouraged that we're going to see some good numbers by the end of this year, at least in relative terms to prior years. We always like to talk about the officers who have died in the line of duty and put a face to the name. Fortunately, this month I only have 5 officers to talk about who died in the month of March. The first was Brittany Muix from Lake County, Indiana, a correctional officer struck and killed by a vehicle while jogging with other officers as part of her duties. Barbara Pill, Brevard County, Florida Sheriff's Office, she was shot and killed while responding to a burglary call. That was back on March 6th. Reuben Thomas with the Florida Department of Corrections. Again, a lot of correctional officers killed this year so far. Reuben Thomas died on March 18th. He was attacked and stabbed to death by an inmate. Javier Arana Jr. from the Texas Department of Public Safety, a state trooper there in Texas. He was killed in an automobile crash while responding to a pursuit call, trying to help other officers apprehend a fleeing felon. And then Michael Walliser from Charles City County, Virginia Sheriff's Office, the most recent death on record. He was killed in a single vehicle crash while responding to assist a fellow officer with a traffic stop. and that occurred on March 31st. So those are the 5 officers, Joe, that we've identified having died in the month of March. It's a very low number, relatively speaking, and hopefully that trend will continue. We'll have even fewer maybe next month.
Yeah, you know, it would be a great thing, wouldn't it, if all we had to do was talk about some of the more positive programs going on instead of some of these fatalities. But you know, we do want to give honor to the people who have given it all. And unfortunately, I'm seeing a couple of women in this listing as well. Let's hope that doesn't trend up either. All right. Other than that, anything else from you folks down at the National Law?
No, just that, again, we'll be preparing for National Police Week. I think our guests will be very pleased with the activities, the events, and the quality of those events that we have planned. We expect, again, more than 20,000 people to be with us during the week of National Police Week, beginning on May 13th, which is our candlelight vigil. The day before, May 12th, at 2 p.m. at the memorial. I encourage visitors for Police Week to join us for the welcome ceremony for the Police Unity Tour, which is our top fundraiser, and a great group of officers, more than 1,400 officers from across the country who ride their bicycles to Washington over 3 days, 300 miles, and always give us a huge check to support the work we do. So just a couple highlights to think about during National Police Week coming up.
No, Craig, all very good stuff. We certainly appreciate you coming on the program and updating everybody with some good news for this month. And let's hope that next month when you come on, we'll have similar news to report.
Very good. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate the time.
Not at all. Thank you very much. All right, everybody. So that is our update with Craig Floyd. All right, from the National